Hello, everyone. David Holt here, healthcare and business attorney. I also go by DJ. And this video is what I'm calling office hours, where I'm going to give you an overview of building the healthcare law firm of the future and how I enjoy working with entrepreneurs and established businesses in the healthcare space. Specifically, I'm going to share our secret for growth. But first, here's the stats. So at Holt Law, the healthcare business law firm, we are on track to hit eight figures in revenue, eight figures or 10 million. We also have 200, over 200, I think we're at 207 as of this recording, five-star Google reviews. We're the highest rated law firm in our practice area in Minnesota. We have 16 staff members as of August of 2024. We have more paid time off than Google, Apple, Tesla. I'll also note that companies that have unlimited paid time off, the employees actually don't use unlimited, and it averages out to 10 or 15. We have much more than that. And I pay employees for unused PTO. We recently expanded to California, so now we're in Minnesota, California, and will likely increase into other states. As a side note, the secret resource also helped me navigating for the hardest bar exam in the United States, which is California, while running a law firm at the same time, and while being a present father, and while still maintaining my workout routine. So here's the secret. Let's get to it. So we made use of virtual assistants based outside the United States. Specifically, we go through a US-based agency that staffs virtual assistants from the Philippines. So they are across the world working in the middle of the night, and the standard of living or the money required to have a decent standard of living there is much lower than it is in the United States. And so this works out with the use of Wi-Fi virtual work. So hence why virtual assistants. These are not individuals that you can easily see in person. The starting hourly rate currently is about at $8 per hour. And of that $8, not all of it goes directly to the VA. I mean, the staffing agency is going to take a cut. Probably a dollar or two of that is going straight to the staffing agency. So actually only 6 per hour is going to the actual VA. More on that in a different office hours on how to work around that. The thing I like about virtual assistants and staffing firms is that there are no employment law rules. There's no overtime, there's no benefits, and you can add or remove the VAs at any time pretty seamlessly without, worrying about discrimination or all sorts of, is my personnel file in order or is there back pay? Payments are just automated through the staffing agency. So there really shouldn't be any concerns with that. At this point in time, really in 2024, approaching 2025, there's really no reason a business owner in any sector should not be using a VA or multiple VAs. It still baffles me how some companies have hundreds of thousands, millions, and tens of millions in revenue, but make zero use of a virtual assistant team and have all US based labor. When I ask them why, I hear all sorts of things. Um, in terms of HIPAA compliance for healthcare businesses, which I'll talk about later in a different resource, as well as not trusting them or not being able to train them. Training would be the same as a US based employee. So really these objections don't really make sense to me. VAs in my mind are cost effective and scalable with little compliance requirements. This gets around the top two objections I hear from small business owners on why they don't have more staff and why they can't scale their business, which are I don't have money, so cost, and just a general fear of employment law and compliance, saying that I don't know, employment law, I hear it's more expensive and there's PTO and all these rights and laws, and that's partially true, but look at this. There is no employment law when you're dealing with a staffed individual from abroad. That's hence why there is a little cut that goes taken out of the $8 per hour that goes to the staffing agency for arranging that and complying with local rules. So I have a complete list of how to hire your first virtual assistant with a focus on healthcare businesses, which I'll share in the resources. But just because it mentions healthcare stuff in there 90% of it is going to be broadly applicable to any business owner and really at any revenue amount. I don't care if you're at zero, I don't care if you're 100,000, million, 10 million, 100 million. I would layer this on stats. I also have a list of 100 tasks that you can delegate to a virtual assistant. So I've tried to break it down based on certain categories. It's really, the engineering mind of me. I was a biomedical engineering graduate for undergrad, and that really makes me think more from a systems mindset and breaking things down. And so I think you'll really like that resource. Now, no, this is not an overnight solution, a get rich quick or any, fix everything type scheme. There will be some minimal training. You're going to have to teach the VA how to do the tasks. I really like to do video recordings of myself doing stuff and then hand it to the VA. I think that's really the easiest way to be typing, doing it, just like I'm recording this video now, and then handing it off to them because that allows them to rewatch it. And then it's already built into your business as really an internal training, just in case that VA moves on or they need to go and train somebody else on it. So that's my favorite way to do it. To each their own, but for now, like screen video recording is pretty easy. Um, I will say English as a second language is also another, uh, you know, slight barrier or concern that I hear. That's true, but I think the alternative, if you're looking at, I don't know, just minimum wage across the United States, we're looking at 15, approaching $20 an hour in most states, and you are dealing with either an independent contractor where you never really know if they are actually an employee, right? And you're kind of skirting the line, or you're dealing with an employee and you have the employment law compliance, which is doable if you're working with an attorney and you know what you're doing. But outside of that, I I'm still yet to hear arguments as over the objections about the language barrier and maybe some training, which you already would have had to do with other staff, or why to not get a VA. I think using the way I have approached this, I knew that VAs would not be perfect, although I wanted to think they would be when I first hired my first one, and I was frustrated. But if you go into it knowing that it's not going to be perfect, but focusing on value and seeing that this is a much better value than trying to hire, train, keep, maintain a US based employee, you will see this as a game changer. It does require some investment on your end, but it really snowballs on itself. We have it to the point where VAs are training other VAs. They are kind of integrated into our human resources in our US based team. They get bonuses if they do certain things, and it works great. And we have kind of an escalating increase in pay over time. So once you get the first one out of the way, the rest are going to be a lot easier. And right now at Holt Law, we're currently up to 7. We're adding at an exponential rate. In fact, I think we just added 2, or we have plans to hire 2 more here in the next couple months. They do all sorts of tasks, but the ones that are most helpful, I'm going to go over right now. So I got my little list here. I made the top 7, and I'm going to explain a little bit as to kind of what it actually looks like. So the first and probably the biggest and most important one is inbox sorting. As an attorney, I get thousands of emails a day, thousands. I mean, it would be unusual for it to hit 2,000 in a day, but if I just let it sit there and there was nobody sorting it, there was nobody responding or anything like that, and you include replies on emails before you're actually able to see it, it's over 1,000, right? I think one of the biggest issues with business owners that I see is they think that living in their inbox is productivity when it should really be prioritizing tasks and not just sitting there and thinking that if they get through a bunch of emails in a day that that's productivity, because I think we've all been in email chains where there's a lot of back and forth and it's not really going anywhere, and those who are quick to email seem to get the most attention, which is not the way that it should be. So what I have is a system where the VA, after training them, labels emails based on what they are. If they are clients, they label it with a nice little who that client is, and we have labels for each client. We use the G Suite or Google email system, works great. If there's client files coming through, those automatically get put by the VA into the client file. And those that they just can't handle by themselves with like administrative acknowledgments or things that I've already trained them on, they will put into a review folder. Generally, they debrief me on those emails at a daily meeting, which I can quickly, I can talk a lot quicker than I can type, or at least give high level direction. Those get summarized to me in a daily meeting. So right now, in a perfect world, there is not a lot of time in my day spent in emails, maybe about 30 minutes, 45 minutes a day tops. Um, the rest is the VA sorting, responding, and then summarizing for me. And the beautiful thing is that when there's very urgent tasks, those get moved to the top, and the VA brings that to my attention even quicker if it's relevant. So that is the number one game changer. I think every attorney in the US should have a VA, period. Just I I'd love to hear the arguments against it in the comments, but I love having the email box sorted. Okay, second one kind of relates to the first one is the time management, especially of your high level staff, like the attorneys, professionals, healthcare professionals, doctors, nurses, whatever, attorneys, even paralegals. We should be doing, attorneys should be doing legal work. Medical doctors should be doing the practice of medicine. They should not be sorting emails and responding to vendors and, paying invoices and things that could be automated or very simply be brought into a power meeting at the very beginning of the day and be a yes, no, yes, no. So a VA should be used for the time management of attorneys, could be time management of medical doctor, time management of whoever you are. Prioritizing this also with the use of a practice management software. For example, we use ClickUp. We love ClickUp. Most attorneys do not use ClickUp. Attorneys use a bunch of weird practice management software. I think it's actually one of the faults of the legal system is there's not a lot of innovation, but I'll leave it at that. With the time management of attorneys, this also means that the VA is bringing the more prioritized tasks to the surface for the attorney to see quicker. So, for an example, in practice at our firm, we have some clients that are more premium clients. They pay us more on a monthly basis. They have much more complex and urgent tasks. Those go up to the top, whereas others, such as inquiries like, hey, I have a quick question, and they haven't paid anything, we haven't engaged with them at all. Those are going to take a little more time to respond to. That is not something that you should be responding to same day. Or if it is same day, it should only be after you did everything else as an attorney. And if you are doing that, you should really reflect on that. Okay. Third thing, breathe, that VAs are doing, call handling. So I always like having a real person pick up. We do have a call, person, it's people that pick up, but kind of software based. Smith.ai is what we're currently using for if the calls don't make it to one of our VAs or they out of the office or something, there will still be a human that picks up. But I would prefer a VA, kind of like a switchboard, to pick up. They kind of know the client file. They can reroute to other people on the team. They can generally do pretty quick tasks like payment of invoices, opening a file, getting an email out, like very basic stuff that just helps quickly move things along. And the number one thing that they can do that I love is that if somebody calls our firm, they can immediately get that person on the line with our intake sales specialists who can then get that person onboarded in, let's just say they have money, they're ready to go, they know exactly what they want from the pricing package of our website. That person could be onboarded in as little as 15 minutes. Show me a law firm that can do that. And this is being accelerated by the use of VAs. Okay. Fourth thing, file maintenance. So if you're an attorney and you're watching this, how many times have you spent manually changing names and addresses and phone numbers in legal documents? Or how many times do you think you actually hired an attorney, if you're not an attorney, that was doing that, and then billing you hourly at hundreds of dollars an hour to do that? That's like malpractice in my mind. But really, if these are just minor edits, they should be done by, at a bare minimum, a paralegal. But if it's a VA that's being directed by an attorney to change David Holt to DJ Holt throughout a document and make sure that we caught every spot, that is going to be just fine for a VA and not an attorney to do, as opposed to changing a complex clause based on an attorney to attorney conversation that was already had and settlement type things. Okay. Other file maintenance could be just getting files up into client folders, renaming them. There is just so much PDF, Word documents, little technical things that need to be changed that are just not, don't require any sort of high level technical skill knowledge. It's the exact same for medical doctors and most other licensed professionals. Okay, number 5, tracking of numbers and data. I love this one. We are a big numbers based law firm. We have key performance indicators. I love that VAs can be used to look at the numbers that you wouldn't usually be tracking because you don't have the time. But now that you have $8 an hour, or maybe a little bit more, of someone that can build a spreadsheet, monitor numbers, track things as they come in, this allows you to make much better informed decisions based on data because you're actually tracking it live. We track all sorts of numbers. I could do a whole nother video on KPIs or key performance indicators, but for the first 7 years of my practice, I was just looking at high level numbers. Now we can dig into really cool and highly specific numbers for how client files are doing, how long certain little things are taking, percentage of clients that are doing this and that, and then making decisions based on that. And it's all enabled by the use of VAs. It's one level above any sort of AI or automation, but it's well below what an attorney or a licensed professional should be doing, and usually most US based employees. Or if there are US based employees that are not attorneys, they should be looking at the data and make some of those higher level decisions that then get up to the business owners. Okay. Number 6, moving along. Another thing I love VAs to do are just simple graphics, simple video editing, simple blog content creation, and simple research. I added simple to all of those because there may be situations like perhaps a logo design where you kind of do it once and you do it really well. You may want like a real graphic designer with that. Some videos, for example, high production videos are ones where I have a US based video team doing that in person and doing like you know high level production based edits. But for lower level stuff, that can all be VAs. So maybe even some social media content, but I'm a much more, I used to be a post something all the time, where now I'm a lot more strategic with that as opposed to all the time, but consistency with good content. And finally, the 7th one here is going to be using VAs for follow-ups with clients, just general reminders and troubleshooting Zoom technical details. I don't know how many times we have Zoom issue logins, or it used to be Google Meets or Ring Central, whatever. Pick your software. There's always technical issues, and it's not really technical issues. It's just those who are, they have to click the update and it delays the meeting a little bit, and then they call, but they call somebody who's not on the meeting. So you got to work through all that. We have systems with VAs to just calmly get people into the meetings quickly. In terms of reminders and follow-ups and just pushing projects along, VAs can be used to do calls. They can do business texts if you've enabled that through your business, as well as emails. Hey, checking in. The attorney sent that on this day, just checking in to see if you got that. Hey, checking in. Did you get the document that we sent? Just want to make sure we got that response. We want to get it out by Friday. Little follow-ups like that so that an attorney isn't playing phone tag all day, getting endlessly distracted and interrupted, and rather they're just doing high level projects and thinking. So really good for follow-ups. And when you have that with the call handling and the email handling, you'll notice that nearly all of the communications of the firm have a first layer of VAs seeing them and generally keeping the attorney way more organized than they could be by themselves. Okay. Moving down here. Separately, I do use VAs for minor executive assistant type tasks, like helping book and coordinate activities for my son and I, just like basic research and ordering food. During the bar exam, I took the California bar exam 10 years into practice. because I'm from Minnesota, based out of Minnesota, snowbird to California to escape the harsh winters, and finally got a place there, and then now practice law there. So unfortunately, California is one of the states where you have to take the bar exam to get in as of now, and it's the hardest bar exam in the nation. New York may disagree, but it is. Um, so I had to study for the bar exam, which, I'm a slow reader. And so I actually took 3 months of studying just to make sure this was a one and done. I was still a father. I was still running a seven-figure law firm, and I was working out. And I think one of the reasons I was able to do this is because I had a VA really being able to reroute things. In fact, I kind of had two VAs working with me to really reroute things. And I'm happy to report I passed the California bar exam. Obviously, that's how we're in California, and I did that on the first try. Um, so bringing this all back, and in conclusion here, just want to clarify that this has been a game changer for growth. We would not have gotten from 6 to 7 and soon to be from 7 to 8 without the use of VAs. Absolutely, we probably could have done it without, but how fast we've done it and really just enabling that scalability has been really eye-opening to, hey, why wasn't I doing this earlier? So I think for growth-focused healthcare business owners and other professionals in any real professional services or any business owner entrepreneur, I think that this could take a lot of administrative work off your plate. I strongly recommend that you make the use of VAs if you're not already immediately, or I suspect others who are doing this, watching this video, whatever, will have a competitive advantage over you. So I have some resources. It's been fun recording the first office hours here, and I